What's up guys, Kyle here again, and today we are checking out the brand new 2 Notes Dyne-IR Friedman Impulse Response Pack collection. It's a bunch of really cool cabs. Yeah, let's do it! Alright guys, hope you're doing great out there today. If this is your first time here at my channel, my name is Kyle, and what I do is I take awesome high gain amps, guitars, cabs, speakers, pickups, and impulse responses. I record them with a simple setup, and I give you guys the unprocessed audio on your end. So if you're into E-standard thrash riffs, drop C hardcore riffs, and dudes that have a hard time resisting the urge to act like a total idiot on camera, you're in the right place. Consider hitting the like button and subscribing on the way out so you don't miss any more of my stuff. Thanks! Alright guys, so today we are checking out an awesome impulse response collection from 2 Notes Audio. This is the Friedman Dyne-IR collection, which is an impulse response pack that consists of 5 different cabinets from Dave Friedman's personal collection. Now in the intro clip that you guys heard in this video, I was using a Friedman Runt 50 with a Legendary Tones hot mod installed, and I was running that directly into 2 of the Friedman impulse responses, one of them being the 6402 naked cab, which is the cab that has all of the Tolex stripped off, and it's got the 90s reissue greenbacks with the 6402 cone. And then the other impulse response that I used was basically this cabinet right here, which is a modern production Friedman BE412 cab with a vintage 30. And honestly, they just sounded good right out of the box. So with that being said guys, let's go ahead and jump into these impulse responses and see what we get in this pack. I would like to mention real quick that 2 Notes has sent me the cab pack, and they have also sent me this Torpedo Captor X in order for me to check out and do some cool demos for you guys. They sent this thing over to me and basically just said, do your worst. And I said, I don't think you understand the implications of what you just said to me, because even my best is really bad. But a quick thank you to the awesome folks at 2 Notes for sending out this Captor X, and also for hooking me up with the Friedman cab pack to check out for you guys. But please keep in mind, even though they sent me this stuff for free for review, you guys are gonna get my honest thoughts and opinions, as always. So diving into this cabinet pack, the first one that I want to check out with you guys is that Friedman Naked that has the 6402 coned greenback. That greenback, the 90s reissue one with that cone, is kind of like widely regarded as one of the best sounding greenbacks, and it's kind of one of the most sought after ones at this point. And at first glance, this sounds really good. So for our little demonstration here, our little playthrough, I'm using a Splon Pro Stock. This is a hot rodded Marshall style amp with 6550 power tubes, and let's hear what we have going on. Right off the bat, right out of the box, that sounds fantastic. Really bright and detailed without being harsh. Now, obviously, we have different microphones that we can choose, and there's all sorts of stuff going on in the 2 Notes wall of sound software that really allows you to fine-tune these impulses to get exactly what you want out of them. But I'm not going to play around with all the crazy controls. We're just going to kind of check these cabs out as is. Now that was a Dynamic 421, which is of course a Sennheiser MD 421 microphone. Not even my favorite mic to use for the high gain guitar R stuff, and it still sounds great. But let's go ahead and cycle through. You've got a MD160, a Royer R121, a FET47 condenser, an AT4050 microphone, and then of course you get over to the classics for the high gain stuff, which is a 58, a 7B, and a 57. So I am going to naturally go to what I know the most, which is an SM57. And that sounds really good right off the bat. I don't have to touch anything and I'm happy with that tone. All right, so sounds awesome, and of course in the 2Notes software you can back the mic off, you can bring it off to the side and have it off axis. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff that you can really do to fine tune this the way that you want it to sound. If you want it to sound a little bit more mild, we can just bump it off axis here slightly. And if you want it to sound a little bit more airy, a little bit more of the room in the sound, back it off of the speaker so it's not directly on. But I am here for the thrash metal tones, and if you're here for the thrash metal tones, you're in the right place. If you're here for the non-thrash metal tones, I suggest that you go look at a different video because you're not gonna find it here. All right, next cabinet. That one sounds awesome with the simple SM57 setup on it. See what I did there? Let's move over to the Friedman 412 Vintage, which is basically the cab that I have sitting right next to me. That one has the SM57 pulled up as well. Let's hear how that sounds. That is a sound that I am intimately familiar with because I have used this cabinet to record. I in fact use this cabinet to record my band's full length with. We mic both the V30 in the bottom, which is what you're hearing here, and we mic a greenback up top, which is what you will hear in the black Friedman 4x12 cab that is included in this cab pack. But it sounds awesome. Not only does it sound bright and in your face and aggressive, but it still just sounds full. A lot of cabinets that have 16 ohm V30s in them tend to be very bright, very spiky and directional. I've not found that with the Friedman cab, and I found that when recording that cabinet, it comes out nice and smooth, even with an SM57. And here in this impulse response pack, everything still sounds nice and smooth to my ears while giving you just the right amount of aggression to cut through. So let's go ahead and try a different mic on this one real quick, just to see what we have. 421, 60, 121, 40, 50. Let's do the 421 again. Again, aggressive, detailed. We've got the 421 sound signature on there, which kind of rounds it out quite a bit, but it still sounds excellent. So let's go over to the next cabinet. And this is the Friedman 412 Green, which has a modern production greenback in it, much like the top two speakers in this cabinet. And let's go back over to that SM57. So that is much darker than the V30. It's much smoother. It's got more of a low-mid emphasis on it, and it reminds me very much of sticking an SM57 right on a greenback. I really like combining the recorded tone of a greenback and a vintage 30 together because I feel like it's just kind of the best of both worlds. It really evens things out a little bit if you're not a fan of the 57 on the V30 and that overly mid-forward tone that can sometimes come out of that. Pop, pop, tap, tap, tap. Greenbacks for metal all day for me, so let's go on to the next cab, which is the Friedman 412 G12. Now, I believe that this is a vintage cab that Dave has in his collection. It's a vintage Marshall from the 70s, and it's got G12 65 speakers in it, which that was a speaker that Celestion put out in the early 80s. It was their attempt at like a higher power greenback before they moved into the first iteration of the G12 T75, which is nothing like the later iteration of the G12 T75, and I'm going off on a tangent. But anyways, these are usually kind of a fat and dark sounding speaker, but they are a little bit more aggressive than, say, like another old school greenback. So let's hear this speaker impulse. So yeah, definitely a little fatter and a little darker, I would say, than the 6402 greenback that we heard at the beginning of the video, but it is a little bit more mid-forward and aggressive than the greenback that we just heard on the previous cabinet. And I actually have a quad of these speakers sitting in the room next to me, and I say this is very accurate to how they sound. They almost have like this kind of hollow mid-range thing going on. They have a pretty big and kind of tubby low end. Maybe mine are just excessively broken in, but it definitely very much reminds me of what I'm hearing through the speakers right now. So great job on that. I think that that one is really cool and unique sounding when compared to a lot of other impulse responses out there. And the very last cab in the pack is the Friedman 412 Black, which has a vintage G12H30. This has the 55 hertz cone in it, I believe. I've never heard these speakers in person, at least to my knowledge. I have a vintage cab, vintage Marshall cab in the next room that has a couple of old blackbacks in them, but I have no idea what they are because the stickers have all been ripped off, so I need to figure that out. But anyways, let's see how this thing sounds. All right, so definitely unique. Does not sound like any speaker I have played personally. It actually reminds me more of the G1265 than anything else, but it definitely has its own unique character going on in the mid-range. That's actually a really cool sounding speaker. Really cool sounding speaker. Obviously, there is lots of ground that I didn't get to go over because this pack is really in depth with the mic choices, with the mic positioning, and all the after EQ stuff that you can do in the 2Notes Wall of Sound software. You really do get such an awesome bang for your buck with the 2Note stuff because they give you so many possibilities. What the heck is going on here? As far as the mic positions and everything, so you really do get a lot for your money, and in this Friedman pack, you get 5 awesome and 5 unique sounding cabinets. Of course, you can get a lot of regular greenback and vintage 30 cab impulse responses out there, but getting stuff with these vintage speakers, especially the ones that have been handpicked by Dave, who is notorious for having just a fantastic ear for great sounding speakers, you are definitely not gonna find that in any of the other packs out there. So do I recommend this pack? Absolutely. I think you guys should check it out for yourself. You don't even have to buy the whole collection. You can go in and buy a single cabinet if you liked what you heard from these cabinets more than the others. All that stuff can be found over at 2Notes website. I will make sure to put a link to this particular cab pack in the description of this video below. And if you do want to pick the entire collection up, it's only 50 bucks. You're getting a lot of impulse responses, a lot of options and tweakability for $50. So I think it's a great deal. I definitely recommend it. Again, down in the description, you'll find the link to that if you want to go check it out for yourself. If you already own this, or if this is your first time hearing these cab IRs, let me know down in the comments of this video what you guys think. Is this something that you guys are interested in? Are these speakers that you typically would probably not, associate with thrash metal type tones that I do here on my channel? And if so, how did you think they sounded? Always curious to see what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments, and I'll meet you down there to chat about it. If you would like to support this channel and what it is I do here, down in the description of this video are all my affiliate links, including my Sweetwater affiliate link. You click that link, get yourself something nice from the fine folks at Sweetwater. I get a little kickback, and it costs you nothing extra. Really helps my channel move forward, and I very much appreciate it. I don't know why I said it like that. Or you could consider adding your name to this list of incredibly fine people by joining my Patreon community and supporting the channel that way. I'll love you forever, whether you want me to or not. And last but not least, consider joining my Facebook group in the description down below, where we talk about gear all day long. It's a really good time, and I would love to see you guys there. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hit that like button on the way out and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. Kyle here again. We'll see you next time.